the best strategy for me has actually been moving my body. So when I'm talking about like feeling like those thoughts of like feeling like I'm not enough or that I need to do something else, moving my body has been a really healthy answer to be like, okay, this is something that actually is keeping me moving physically, and is also taking care of me.
Rise up, mind shift, new day, new hustle, street lights, bright ideas, courage through the struggle. Focus on the vision, move smart, stay true. From the city to the boardroom, we breaking through, shift gears, new fears, but we thrive in attention. Turn lessons into action, goals into intention. Don't blink, stay up, every player's precision. Welcome to Mind Shift, where ambition meets the mission.
My name is Miranda Schultz. I like to call myself the glorified herder of the cats, but my professional title is the director of operations here at the Porterhouse KC.
When you were really lost, what was the voice in your head telling you every day?
What was the voice in my head telling me? I mean, I think if I'm like going through a period of feeling lost, I think the the thoughts that are going on in my head are probably focused around like imposter syndrome or the comparison of why I'm feeling lost. So maybe I'm thinking about what other people are doing and where they're at in their lives versus like maybe what I'm doing or where I'm at. Um, so usually pretty tough thoughts, honestly. I wish I could say they were more positive if I'm feeling lost, but usually it's a what am I doing kind of thought. If I'm feeling lost, I'm usually really anxious. So I'm usually in a place of like I need to figure this out and I just need the next step, which is sometimes not always a great thing. Sometimes the answer is I actually just need to sit. But usually when I'm feeling that way, that's where I lean first is what do I need to do next?
How does that feel emotionally? Like, what was really going on inside when you was having those thoughts?
I mean, I think I'm working through right now this feeling of overworking myself, and understanding where that comes from. And I think if I'm feeling lost, I'm usually like, well, okay, like if I'm feeling lost, I need to do something. So maybe the opposite of feeling lost is doing a bazillion things, which obviously like is not always the answer either. And it can make you really tired and feeling like you're so stretched thin that you're actually not connected to anything. Um, so I think honestly, sometimes it makes me feel more lost, which is not always, again, the answer, but it definitely makes me get up and do something. Uh, I have learned to not be a wallower. I think wallowing has been something that I've done well in the past, which wallowing to me is basically like you sit and you feel really sad for yourself for like days. But it also takes away from you actually like doing something about why you're feeling the way you are. So, less wallowing, more doing, but I think I'm trying to figure out uh, where that pendulum swing is of not wallowing, but not like overworking myself and really just like being balanced and a little bit of both.
What thoughts or doubts kept spinning in your mind? Was there a story you kept telling yourself?
I do think that uh, thoughts usually come from, am I doing enough? And usually that comes in with some doubts too of like, oh, I probably need to work harder, or oh, I probably need to lay out or plan something even more detailed than what I already have. Um, and again, usually that leads to like overwork or putting myself back into a cycle almost. So um I don't know. Usually you end up going through that process enough to get your own little nuggets of clarity. Um, but it's really rough to go through it in the moment.
What strategies do you use to reset mentally when you're feeling overwhelmed or stuck?
I love that question. Um, I think the best strategy for me has actually been moving my body. So when I'm talking about like feeling like those thoughts of like feeling like I'm not enough or that I need to do something else, moving my body has been a really healthy answer to be like, okay, this is something that actually is keeping me moving physically, and is also taking care of me, while also usually like stepping outside and like being a part of something bigger than what's going on in my head. It's definitely movement. Uh, Walking my dog buddy, um, playing basketball, even though I'm not a hooper, like I'm sure Dan talked about that. I'm not that. But or just like, I don't know, doing movement things with my friends. I've gotten into indoor cycling again, so that's a thing. If people want to go cycling with me, let me know.
During that lost phase, where did you turn for answers or inspiration?
Mm, my community, I would say. I feel like, or I try to be, very intentional about what my environment looks like. Um, I'm a firm believer in like, wherever you plant yourself, it it's important on where you plant yourself, um, and how you grow. And so, I really lean towards the people that I feel like might see me better than I see myself in those moments. And getting their perspective or their honest perspective on um what they're seeing that I might not be seeing, or what I need to be reminded about that um maybe I'm not reminding myself on as much. And so, yeah, um really lean heavily on my community and um trusting that they will give me an honest perspective on where I'm at and what I'm missing.
Have you ever had a moment of false clarity? Like if you found the right path, but when you acted on it, it didn't hit or fit the way that you wanted to?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, the easiest example that I think about is my route to get here. I Throughout college, I had really no idea what I wanted to do with my life. And so I studied psychology because I knew I wanted to work with and connect with people in some capacity. But that usually meant that, you would go on to be a therapist or a counselor. Um, and I actually like started going down that route and I thought about going back to school and quickly learned that I did not feel like I had the patience to do that or to be that, and that I wanted to be present for the people that I rock with without getting paid for that. Um and so yeah, that was a moment that I was like, okay, well, how do I get to still connect with people without being a therapist or um doing something that's more direct like that? And I had no idea that it would lead me here, but I'm really glad that it did. Um, and you learn a lot about the connection of a business owner and just a person and how their passion fuels their purpose and fuels like their own their own answer to a problem that they have. Um, and it's nice to be a part of that journey and see that journey. Um, so yeah.
We are architects of attention. We don't just tell stories, we ignite them. With cinematic vision and digital fire, we turn brains into experiences. Our stories don't whisper, they roar. Bold, raw, unforgettable. We transform moments into movements. Each pixel, each frame, each word crafted to leave a mark. We don't chase trends, we set them ablaze. Your brain is more than a logo, it's a living, breathing force. We amplify voices, spark conversations, and build connections that stick. Our creators are relentless, award-winning, and obsessed with excellence. We are storytellers, weave our brain amplifiers. We connect you to the modern consumer, wherever they are and however they listen. Dare to be seen, dare to be heard, dare to be unforgettable.
Was there a particular resource or piece of content that changed your mindset or helped you get closer to clarity?
I mean, I think I think about I think it's James Clear. Maybe it's Adam Grant. I like both of these men, but, I think it's James Clear, but he talks about how changing something 1 degree or 1% can ultimately change the viewpoint or the pattern or the routine of where you're at. Um, and I consistently remind myself of if I'm gonna show up in a certain way, I wanna make sure I give 1% better than how I would the day before, or, how I would if I feel like I'm already down, that I'm just asking myself 1% better than where I feel like I'm at. And usually that's a good reminder and a good mindset shift to, um, uh, challenge myself to be better for myself and for the people around me in moments that sometimes it's hard.
At what point of your journey have you had to deal with insecurities and low confidence? How'd you overcome that?
I think, there are I mean, just to be real, like, I think I have moments of insecurity about sometimes still being in this space. Um, I have never personally owned a business or started a business. And, that's the whole point of, or a big portion of like what our organization does is supporting business owners grow their businesses. And so I do feel like I've gone through periods and moments of insecurity of being like, do I fit into this space if I've never actually started a business? Like, how does that really, how do I align with this? Um, and I think like how I have consistently overcame that is figuring out more of who I am, and what I'm good at to support the organization, which then ultimately supports the people. And also while again like leaning on my community. So Dan and I had a really good conversation together about just that feeling. Um, and he really helped me rethink about what it means to be just a business owner and a person. And ultimately, like, yes, we are supporting businesses, which then is, owned by a business owner, but it's also just us supporting people. And, that was, like, my whole goal when I got out of college was to figure out how do I get to support people. And so it's honestly been more of a full circle moment than I was initially expecting, and it really helped to be able to talk to somebody that, again, had a good mirror for me at heart, and to also see the things that I wasn't seeing. So,
Looking back, what would you tell yourself at your lowest point?
that's a good one. I think I would say that this isn't it, or this isn't all that it's gonna be. Or and to keep going. I again, I think thinking back about the wallowing, it's really easy when you're in those moments. Like I'm thinking about some of those low moments and just like feeling like it was never gonna end and that feeling was never gonna end. Um And obviously I'm here, so we made it through the feeling and the moment, and the phase, and so I think I would really just say, like, keep going, um, and yeah.
How has your definition of success changed from when you were lost to where you are now?
How has my definition of success changed? Yeah, I mean, I think when I was in this lost place, um I really don't even think I was aiming for success. I think I was just aiming for, um, like, to make it, to, like, whatever that meant, um, and feeling almost like I was never gonna get to that, like, I was never gonna make it, so whatever that is. So consistently almost, like, putting myself in this position of being lost. So I think now it's, now it's more about, um keeping and staying consistent with the relationships that I've built with the people that I love, I think is really ultimately like what success now is for me. Um, because I think I've proven to myself and yeah, I've proven to myself that I can like do the things that I want to do or like put myself in a position where I will be like financially free. And I think I'm more now just in a place of like, I want to be like personally free. Like I want to feel like I'm around people and I can stay around people um that have good intentions and that have the values and um the humor and all of that stuff that I want to stay around and be reminded to be. And so I think yeah, um the people the people are what um makes success a thing.
Beyond work and achievements, how do you define yourself and keep your sense of self-worth?
I think that's been something that like has also potentially been where I was feeling lost, um, is being so focused on what that is and never making that. And I think now, well, everyone knows now, but before I broke my ankle, like playing volleyball and movement was a really big thing that completely separated me from the work that we do here. Um, and it was just a way to make really good friends and people that obviously like are also really excited about this sport, but are usually really, really nice people to be around. Um, so I think like leaning back into again, like the hobbies that I enjoy and the things that have nothing to do with um supporting small business owners and the work that we do here, which usually means like going to be competitive somewhere like bowling or pickleball or anything that I feel athletic enough to do and just meeting wonderful people along the way. So I think, yeah, things that are completely not related to any of this.
What would you tell a fellow entrepreneur who's stuck right now and feeling lost?
I would ask them if they feel like they have a good community around them. Um, and if they don't, that's where I would challenge them to start looking for that. Um, and I think along with that, like being open to the idea that like not everybody is going to be that like perfect community, but maybe it's the idea that you're consistently putting yourself out there to make sure that you don't wallow. Um, and just like for me, like it'll pass. Like it's not something that's gonna stay. It's gonna change. Maybe it'll change for the worse, maybe it'll change for the better. Um, but hopefully if taking enough action, it'll change for the better.
When things got heavy or life was hitting hard, what techniques or moves did you use to keep your head straight?
The time that I think about that, like, I was going through a not so fun time was actually during COVID. And it was the time that I realized that I'm really, really bad at just like sitting still. Um, and I would go on walks. And more specifically, I would go on walks that included a podcast. And that was where podcasting, I think, became like a really sexy thing. But um, it gave me the space to both think outside of my head, but also move my body to remind myself that I'm not actually staying in one place. Um, and I still do that. So like if I feel like I'm like overly in my head, I will like physically get up and start walking because I'm just like I want my mind to keep thinking, but I also like I want to move from this particular thought. And I think movement has just been like a good reminder for me to actually do that.
What's one book that made a real impact on your journey?
I'm going to go back to good old James with Atomic Habits. Um, I think a lot of the things, both business owner and person, have to do with how you set up and create habits for yourself. Whether they're helpful habits or hurtful habits. And I think reading that book really helped remind me of how intentional I like to build my life and uh, the side effects of what that could look like if you don't. Um, so I think it really helped me define like almost like my why of like even just like choosing to work out. Like I think um that's me choosing to help make my physical body 1% better than than the day before. And I think similarly uh, about the workspace, about me as a person. Um, I think it's really helped shape the evolution and growth of who I am versus staying stagnant in what I'm doing now.
That's it for this episode of Mindshift. This series is presented by Startland News, KC's nonprofit newsroom for startups and innovators. Produced by Social Apex Media, a Kansas City marketing and content studio. If this hit for you, share it with another entrepreneur and subscribe for the next video.